All right,
I can read it.
pursuant to chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 as amended on March 28, 2025. This meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and or participation is being provided, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if there are tech problems unless required by law. Viewers can visit the local scene.media/Duxbury, formerly pac-tv, to watch a video replay of this meeting on Duxbury YouTube. Welcome, welcome. So, friend, let's get the minutes done so that we don't, you guys just bear with us for 5 minutes so we can get this done because I inevitably forget to do it. And then that's all right. We have the minutes from, friend, which one are you looking at first?
The oldest one's October 2nd. Yeah,
Okay. And, are you satisfied that the corrections were made that we discussed at our last meeting?
let me check my notes.
Oh, certainly, sir.
Just one typo on the third page. The words are joined together, but doesn't matter. Other than that, I'm satisfied with the revision. I would move that we approve the minutes from October 2nd, 2025.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
One. Step forward. And I believe she can hear as well, which is nice.
He's saying that, okay, are you good now, Mark? Can you hear? Working now, okay. He had no audio, it was black screen and audio was gone, but we're good now.
Oh, okay. Oh,
We also have the minutes of October 14th.
well, didn't we vote those? We voted one set last week, didn't we?
14th we voted.
It was the
We
second.
voted the 14th, I believe.
And these are from Josephine.
Linda, didn't we?
That was September 16th.
Oh, September 16th? Okay. Oh, you didn't do the 14th yet, did you?
Correct. Well, I just sent.
Yes, she did.
You just sent them out.
Oh, just sent, have you already looked at them?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Did you?
Okay, great. Good job, you.
Would
Let's
you
do
like
it.
to read them before we?
Nope, I'm good. You are the blue pencil in this crowd, sir.
Move the minutes of meeting of October 14th, 2025 as presented.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mark? Okay, great. There you are. All right, good. Got this. All right, so let's get back to budget and let's welcome our Human Resources Director, Ms. G.D. Horn. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Does anyone need a copy of the presentation? I did bring my copy.
I will take one just because I keep copies of this thing.
I'll call it up on the screen in 1 second. I just lost the picture.
Are you gonna, did you want to put it up on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jeannie, is this revised from the one we discussed at your meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
With your recommendation.
What do you have?
Mary, do you have this updated one? Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you very much.
And is it also in Clear Gov? Jeannie?
It is.
Thank you.
Right here.
Just something.
right here, my dear.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. Well, first I want to thank the finance committee for having me here tonight.
Thank you.
And just as a point of reference, the human resources budget for the current fiscal year is 0.3% of the total budget for the combined town and school. So just as a point of reference.
Sure.
So it's a very small spend, but there's a big return on the spend. So, the HR department is, a hub for all payroll transactions, all technology, requests when we're onboarding and offboarding employees. And benefits for all town, school employees and all combined retirees. So, the HR department's budget request for the upcoming fiscal year 27, is going to be lower than the ask, for the current year. And my budget, for fiscal year 27, includes 3 FTEs, which is down from 3.5 FTEs, from previous years. Our benefits specialist, Phyllis Hughes, retired in July of 2025. She was, in the department for nearly 20 years. She did an incredible amount of work, on 19.5 hours a week. Ironically, not benefit eligible. But she did a great job. And, we're learning just how much she did in that short period of time. So, the reason why, I proceeded in that direction is that, given the structural deficit that we are looking at, for the, upcoming fiscal year. We had posted the job, we had many amazing candidates, we narrowed it down to 2 people. And, it was an embarrassment of riches. They were very skilled, talented individuals, but when I stopped and thought about, the environment that where we were in, I really didn't feel comfortable moving forward with someone's employment at this time, knowing that we were facing a very difficult budget outlook. So I decided to, I consulted with the staff and we decided to, hit the pause button on filling that role. So it was a very difficult decision. I don't want to overburden the staff. We have great staff. Kim and Nicole have really rolled up their sleeves and we've all learned a lot more about what Phyllis is doing. And what happened was when Phyllis was in that role, the role really evolved over time. So we handled, the ACA reporting in-house when I first got to the town of Duxbury, we had outsourced that. So we were handling that. We were also handling, we took on unemployment claims. The benefit world isn't getting less complex. It's certainly getting more complex. And it's a very high touch, interaction with employees and retirees, because if there's anything, more important than pay, it's benefits. Benefits are really important to people. And when people are having qualifying events, it's usually a high stress time for them. So either a spouse has lost a job, or they've lost a spouse, or they've gotten a divorce, or they've had a baby, which is wonderful. But all of those interactions take time. And you have to go through people's benefits in a very thoughtful way, because you have to consider, all that goes into it. You have to add them to every benefit, you have to change the beneficiaries, and there's a lot of transactions that happen. And our transactions are much more automated than they used to be. I should say they're more electronic than they used to be. They used to be manual. They are not automated.
Not digitized.
They're not, we do not have automated workflows, which we need desperately. But you have to walk before you run. So this is our opportunity to learn what the responsibilities of the job are from the ground up, so that we really have a good understanding of
Pain points.
of what the pain points are, so that we can memorialize the workflows, so that what we can then automate them or determine if there's a different solution. So we're working towards all of that. Yes.
Who's helping you out with that, Jeannie, the automation piece of it?
I am exploring software options that, and I have, the stakeholders involved as well. So there are software packages available.
Are you working with Mike?
So what I've done is I've identified software packages and I've included, our CTO, our finance director, our, town accountant, payroll specialist on the town and school side, the HR director on the school side, the superintendent of schools. I really did. So we have kicked the tires on, maybe a little fewer than 10, providers. And the next step is for me to set up demonstrations with all of those individuals. So so I'm spearheading that. In addition, we are looking at all of our collective bargaining contracts. So we're actively bargaining, on new collective bargaining contracts. And then we are trying to implement the classification and compensation study within all of those union environments as well. In addition to being down half the staff. So there isn't a lot of capacity left in the department, and I do worry about the staff burnout. Yes.
Did Mary and Rainey look at that and kind of approve, not hiring that person?
My recommendation was to hire the person. I know that the volume of work that goes on in that department is extraordinary.
That's-
And the number of hours that people are putting in. And when I tell you that there are people who regularly have to work on the weekends in order to meet the demands of these jobs, Jeannie is certainly one of them. And
Yeah,
it's unfair. And my recommendation was to replace the position.
I appreciate the effort, but I don't think it's the right move. Just
That's sustainable, Jeannie. It's not sustainable.
No.
not hiring that person, not filling, why would she? We're trying to get back employees, and she's trying to get in the same position of needing, wishing
But
she
in,
hadn't.
in fairness, I mean, there was an awful lot of conversation regarding the HR department over the course of the last year. And it has been very difficult to navigate that, aggressive feedback. And as a result, Jeannie is trying to be responsive. But
they're wrong.
It doesn't,
Aggressive
it
feedback, I'm not
doesn't
following.
resolve the workload issues and the demands of that department.
I'm not following. what
There
that-
have
what
been a
aggressive
lot of
feedback.
questions about, the number of staff in the human resources department.
Who's,
So
Oh, it's been, you guys have seen it. It's been covered in the Clipper numerous occasions.
It's a very broad,
what does that have
broad
to do with the
feedback.
meet and what is that guy? Sincerely, we're having a discussion about the finances and being able to staff appropriately for the department. I'm trying to get through the, I'm trying to get to the facts, Jeannie. And if we lose a half a person, 19 and a half hours, right? And that is that person was critical to the functioning of the department. If we don't have that person and Mary is saying that you're coming in on weekends and we're doing things, then we have not staffed appropriately. We have not done our fiscal responsibility, right, to fully have a functioning HR department.
Right.
So I would strongly recommend that.
but take a number. We haven't staffed appropriately because of the budget considerations. It isn't just HR, and I'm not, I'm not.
I understand, Betsy,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but the conversation is, what does it take to operationalize financially? And I'm not talking, we're talking at a bare bones level. People are doing things that are way outside
Their job
of their
description.
job
Right,
description.
right, and I appreciate the conversation. The rationale that I used was, there is, the budget is unsettled at this point for fiscal year 27, which we can all agree on, right? We haven't gone through the process. I, would rather, so what I've done is I've removed the 0.5 FTE from 5A. And I added it into 5B. So I did that because I would rather hold on to the staff that I have than risk
All right,
bringing on another person and having to risk that person.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's a very
I think
difficult
you
job,
take.
and I'm not trying to challenge you
I
unnecessarily.
think you're right to do it.
She's already got it.
Well, I for one, I know the effort that you put in,
Right.
and I appreciate every minute that you've given to this town. And I think the conversations that have been had have been unfair and unfounded. You do a great job.
And that is not, that was not the thrust of my conversation. You know that, Gina.
Oh, I do. It gave me, I appreciate the question because it gave me an opportunity to think, to re-examine the decision. But I think I would make it again.
It's your decision. I'm not
Right.
saying
I would prefer to be fully staffed, but there will be things that are out of my control during the budget cycle. So I'm trying to control what I can going into it.
But I still think we need to have honest and brokered discussions
Right.
about if, so what happens when we overburden, whether it be
Right.
in Mary's department or your department or Jake's or Joe's or whoever, right?
Right.
What happens is we start to, and you know this better than
Yes.
anybody being in HR, is you start to, grind down,
Yes.
right, your good people, and good
Yes.
people will leave.
Yes, exactly. And I've
So
lived
that-
that.
So now we're headed into a crisis situation. Right,
Let's let it
all
finish.
right, yeah.
Let's let it finish. We, I agree. with
Thank you.
on-
I do appreciate the conversation.
Comment, and I would support it being an A, like, I just can't think of a more critical, and this impacts every other employee of
It
our
does.
town.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna make.
Including the schools.
Literally every,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
department, every person relies on this person, and it's a half an FTE.
Yeah.
I mean, I would consider it a critical, especially if everyone's working the weekends, like, how do we go into another year
Right.
saying that, but
Right.
And we're not telling you to second guess yourself.
Right.
But I think that you sense our support for if
Yes.
your decision evolves.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And that may likely happen, that's part of why the finance committee goes through this process. Is to have a second set of eyes on, budgets that are being prepared and have conversations. And oftentimes you guys have seen that there have been changes that come out of these conversations.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. On the second page, we have the Human Resource Department mission. To assist town officials, supervisors, employees in a fair, consistent, and lawful manner and create and administer. Policies and procedures that sustain a professional, productive, efficient, and innovative work environment which supports the town and its departments in effectively performing their missions. So the mission of the HR department is to support other departments' missions so that they can focus on their mission and then we can handle the human resource aspect of it. And that is why the HR department was created in 2008 when I was hired and tasked with creating a centralized human resources function. And so that happened in 2008. We did hire the FTE, 5.5 FTE for the benefit specialist in 2009 and 2012 in recognition of the body of work that the human resource function is responsible for. We did hire a human resources manager in 2012 and an assistant human resources director in 2022. And that is a great recipe for an effective HR department. And I left the benefit specialist job duties in bold so that you can see that those are the job duties that have been distributed to the 3 FTEs that remain.
Total number of employees you're supporting, Jane?
Um,
The total number,
We'll
yeah,
get there.
yes, good question. Okay, so, then on the following page, page 4, this is, a snapshot of what the Human Resources Department provides. The centralized town and school benefit management on the, left-hand side of the slide in bold is, mostly benefit related. When Phyllis wasn't in, the rest of us would, pick up these duties on Mondays and Fridays when she wasn't in. But we have lots of benefits. We've got health insurance and a whole host of, and it's self-insured health insurance, which takes a lot more management than a fully insured plan. We have a very involved insurance committee that I have the pleasure of working with on a monthly basis, and we've been meeting for the last, Betsy's been doing it for about 20 years. I've been in the role for 17. And it is a great group of stakeholders and thought leaders. Who are all from different aspects of the town. So we also have employee retirement plans, workers' compensation, unemployment. And then we are responsible for the administration, compliance, and reporting as it relates to employee benefits, enrollments, deductions, and direct payments from our benefit participants. We handle the premium payments to all of our benefit providers. We handle HIPAA requirements. We handle Affordable Care Act reporting in-house. We do our COBRA administration also in-house. And the HR department works very closely with the finance department to produce the data that's required for OPEB.
Can I ask you a totally unfair question?
Sure.
Is this staffing, and it's all dominoes that we're playing,
Right.
but the things that you can't get to now,
Mhm.
doesn't that indeed then add additional pressure on the departments that you work with?
It does. It does.
So it's a domino.
Yes, exactly. And the staff isn't able to feel that sense of accomplishment in getting things done in the time frame that they're used to. We're not as responsive as we like to be.
I'm sure people take real well.
Yeah, right, right. And there are things that just can't wait. So there is absolutely an immediacy to our work on a daily basis. Due to the benefit administration, because it has to be handled timely. So that takes precedence over everything else. And I have very much enjoyed the interaction with employees and retirees that Phyllis enjoyed. So I really enjoy that aspect of it, but it does take time away from the other duties that I'm responsible for. So we do have a centralized town human resource management model where we handle all of the recruitment, the onboarding and offboarding, training and professional development, employee relations, labor relations. I won't go through the whole list, but it is comprehensive. And then, you know, we are a risk manager, both from an employee perspective and an employer perspective, and we're advocates. So that is all baked into this work as well. On the following slide, we can answer Kathleen's question. So there are 30 departments in town, 31 if you include the school.
Pretty big department.
Yeah, pretty big department. So the school is 2/3 of our population. So we potentially would interact with over 1,300 town and school employees. And of course, we don't interact with every school employee. It's mostly benefit eligible school employees that we interact with because they have their own HR department. We have 644 town employees. 209 are benefit eligible. And then we have 730 school employees, 445 are benefit eligible. And we have a combined 780 town and school retirees. You'll see later in the presentation, not everyone is enrolled in benefits, but we communicate with all 780 at least twice a year when we host our annual benefit fairs. Our annual benefit fair in the fall for Medicare plans, we've got an Advantage plan and a supplemental plan is coming up in November. And we just introduced a new plan about 3 years ago, and it's definitely gaining in utilization. So there's been a lot of education around that. And then, fun fact, 849 Duxbury residents are either employed by or retired from the town of Duxbury. And the next slide is a look at the employees hired by town department to give you some, and it was inspired by the KPIs that Mary has populated in ClearGov, and then we have, populated with the data. So 46 jobs posted. We have very few jobs open right now. I think we have about 5 jobs posted, and 2 are perennial. They're rec specialists and pool. So that's been helpful because we don't have a ton of jobs open right now. In fiscal year 25, we had almost 1,000 job applicants. We did 90 phone screens. We conducted 72 interviews. We offered jobs 145 times, and we onboarded new hires. So there's obviously a difference between the offers extended and the new hires onboarded. That's because, some of the offers were internal. So, that is,
And some said no.
and some said no. Exactly, that's right. About 10 said no. So I took that off. So you can see that the biggest driver of our hires is, of course, our seasonal hires, so recreation had 27, for example. But, that's a broad, spectrum of the departments that we support that, we filled positions with, and we get to interact with those departments as part of that process. And then, we also have, employee separations by department. So, in fiscal year, we had 65 separations in total in, fiscal year 25. But, 13 of them were retirements, and they were not unexpected. And 19 people were seasonal, and they weren't meeting the requirements of the job, so they didn't work enough hours, so that's why they were, separated from employment. So it just gives a good, again, it provides some facts around what our employee experience is here in Duxbury. And the next slide just gives you, a look at our enrollments for our active employee plans. So we have, all Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance, plan products. So we have a PPO, and an HMO. So that just gives you a look at what our enrollments look like for those two plans. And then the next slide is our combined town and school retiree health insurance plan.
Jean, excuse me, this is just employees, right? If it's not retirees in this.
It may include early retirees who are under the age of 65.
Got it.
That's a good question.
But it just includes the employee, doesn't include their, if they have family plans or anybody else.
It just counts the number of family plans and the number of,
Right, so one family plan could have 5
yes.
participants, but
Right,
it only counts
right.
as one.
And that's a great example to drill down on for a second too. So if one plan if one family is enrolled and there are 5 members of the family, there are, requirements that, have to be done in administering that plan. So when the children age out of the health plan, we have to send them letters letting them know that because they're turning, 26, we will be issuing COBRA. So that's a whole different level of, administration that happens within the plan. And then it also happens when someone's about to turn 65. So we send them a letter then, and we help them transition onto Medicare Part A and Part B, which is required by the town, which allows us to shift 80% of medical costs to the federal government with that enrollment. And then the town is left paying 20% of the overall cost. So, the town and school retiree health insurance plan, is on the next slide. This is for, everyone who's over the age of 65. These are individual plans, that we do not have family plans for these. People are enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B. And MedX2 we've had for quite some time, I think since 2007. And the Medicare Blue PPO Freedom RX is our new Medicare Advantage plan. So you can see that there was no enrollment in 22 and 23. We introduced it in 24. Prior to 24, we had a Medicare HMO plan that nobody was enrolled in. So we went from 0 enrollment to now we have 57 people in the plan.
Is that a Advantage plan?
It is. It's the first time we've had a Medicare Advantage plan. Yeah, and people are very pleased with it. It's worked out nicely. And it's nice for people to have options. The next plan gets down to the nitty-gritty. I won't go through every line item because I've already taken up a lot of time, but I can just give you the highlights. So the 5A budget request for the Human Resources Department represents an ask that is less than the previous year. That is in part because we are shifting some of the costs to ROC and the Water Department enterprise funds. So we worked with those departments to estimate what their needs to project what their needs may be for the upcoming year. So the Rock and Water Enterprise Funds are absorbing those costs. HR will still be handling the administration of those services. So for example, when we onboard someone from the Rock, they go through a pre-employment physical and psychological exam. And the psychological exam is quite costly. It's almost $900. So it's something that is required of police and fire. And given the stress involved in the work that a dispatcher does, we also think it's important to utilize that free hire onboarding screening. So it happens after the offer is made to an individual. It's part of the whole pre-employment screening process. And so our medical services, we anticipate that they will be increasing in the upcoming year. So we've asked for additional funding that covers DOT pre-employment physicals for our DPW commercial driver's licensees, as well as our council on aging bus drivers. They have a non-DOT physical, but we do require a physical for them. And it also covered, then we also have professional and technical services where we're asking for an additional $1,000 to fund pre-employment background screenings. Those are increasing in price. The price is driven by how long it takes to complete the screening. So some organizations are harder to contact than others, so it adds to the expense. Advertising, we do have free advertising available through our applicant tracking system that hits apparently hundreds of websites, but the top ones are Indeed, Glassdoor, and Google. But we also have found a better yield with professional association websites and the Massachusetts Municipal Association job board as well. And there is a fee for that. And then we also post ads in the Clipper, and of course, there's a fee for that. And benefit administration fees, I'm forever hopeful that more people will take advantage of our flexible spending plan for medical costs. And the town pays the small benefit administration fee. And we're coming into open enrollment for that in fall. So I wanted to make sure that we had enough funding for that. So
Before
that's
you leave this slide,
A.
I don't know whether you're quite done yet, but when you do a slide like this, a presentation, what I'm looking at is different than what's on the.
Oh, I'm
screen.
sorry. I was
Because-
talking about 5B.
What?
So.
What?
So,
I-
so yeah, you're on 5A.
Get up for a second, look, what I'm looking at here. And others on the Rock and the Water Enterprise.
Yeah.
So if you just take the medical expense line
Mhm,
and you come across,
mhm.
you went from 9,200 in 06 and 26 to 10,077 and 27. You're up $1,500. Is that reflective? Is that whole, what part of the money is going to be laid off on the Rock and the Water Enterprise? Because that line is still up.
I have it. So, I can update that line, but for medical, to answer your question, we estimate that the Water Enterprise Fund will, be, needing they're estimating maybe 2 pre-hire physicals, so that would be $330. And then the Rock Enterprise Fund estimates, based on past experience, that they may need up to 8 pre-hire physicals, and that's $1,320.
So is that number included the 10,770?
So I can total the whole thing for you, so the total cost that the water enterprise and rock would be absorbing potentially is $8,320.
Of the 10,000?
No,
No,
no.
In
that's-
addition
in
to,
addition to it,
thank you,
so it was 19.
that's what, so you've already pulled it out.
I've already pulled it
And
out.
the general medical expenses are rising somewhat because the cost of those exams are going up.
Yes,
Okay, thank you,
yes,
thank you.
good question. Okay, and similarly, let's see, so the other, line item would be for, other professional and technical services.
Right.
The total that, those two enterprise funds would be, would be charged is $1,407.68. And that would be for background checks and,
And those numbers are carried in their budgets.
they're carried in their budgets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you'll see them
Yeah,
perhaps later this evening.
right, right. Sorry for that. Okay, so, that's 5A. Any other questions on 5A?
I just want to make note that once again, and this is not reflecting on you because every department has done this. The training and educational programs have been cut or
Yes.
reduced,
Yes,
which I guess there's no time to really do the programs or maybe get the education, but is absolutely not a good thing to have happen in any department to
No.
keep them current and working efficiently.
right.
We're cutting off our nose to spite our face.
I know that, and I know that you feel that way. So,
Years later.
thank you for bringing that up, because what I would like to take a moment to point out is that the training and education program funding that remains is $9,000, and it took us a long time to get, the budget to that amount. Last year, for the current year, we have 10,500. This is for every department's use. So
Yeah.
I put it there on purpose so that people can see that it's available. And we have had, there are a variety of training opportunities through the Massachusetts Municipal Association, the Municipal Human Resources Association, Suffolk University, the Collins, there's so many opportunities that we do encourage departments to take advantage of, and we do let departments know that funding is
It's your
available.
professional development.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's in the HR budget. And the other change to the HR budget that I should point out is that we have moved the tuition reimbursement funding. We're not going to be including that in Article 4 any longer. We want to include it in the HR budget so that it is more visible to people. We've had I have taken advantage of it, and I can think of 2 other employees that have taken advantage of it in 17 years. So we want a spotlight to shine more brightly on that opportunity along with the training funding.
Okay.
And the 5B budget, this request is difficult to estimate because it's tied to potential restoration of positions that were lost. So this may have to get adjusted, but I wanted funding to be available in the event that we were able to restore positions that we lost on June 30th, the last fiscal year.
Well, wouldn't there be expenses tied to that? Because if they've left, either somebody new's coming in.
Yes.
And whatever, so if we included all of the stuff that goes with.
The 5A budget includes anticipated expenses for the current employee population.
Okay,
So that's why I wanted any additional anticipated costs tied to positions that had been reduced.
Okay, so it is covered.
It is covered,
Okay.
yeah. And the remaining slides just speak to,
What we just spoke to.
what we just covered. So that's it.
The only thing I'd say is
Huh?
get that other person back in aid.
Yeah,
feel
I think that-
I feel strongly.
the,
Why take a chance of losing that spot? When you've got it and you need it.
well, and I think too, the point that, you know, it's a very expensive mistake if some of those duties aren't managed
You introduce the risk-
appropriately.
You introduce the risk into the equation.
That is a very expensive risk.
Any of
And
these
as far,
departments have been cut back like this. One person gets pregnant. And
Right.
See,
we're
my
very,
only reservation is, we've lost a lot of other people too. And all those people have been asked to put it in their B budgets.
no, but we haven't.
The finance
lost that.
department has got a critical role in making sure our numbers are correct for the town. And they've lost a person. I would like to see that person back too, but they
That
put it
person-
in B.
That person is gone not because of physical restraint, but that person's gone because they retired. The money.
Well,
was
that gave
there,
us the
the
opportunity to
position
have a
was there.
reduction in staff that I think the vote that we got was looking for. I don't think it's pleasant. I'm sorry we lost a half a person. But I think everybody's being asked to put it in B, and I just think that's where it belongs too, just to be consistent. But having said that, also, I have a question. There's a HR person in the school system, right?
Mhm,
Just one person
mhm.
dedicated to HR. So when you look at the chart with all those people, and don't take this the wrong way, there's actually 4 personnel people. One sitting in the schools, doesn't report to Jeannie, and there's 3 in the town. So there are 4 people that are really directly involved.
So
with
but
the-
they have very different charge.
Well,
They
I
do
know.
not do benefits, they do
The
not
town
do.
side is in
and-
charge of all the benefits, but the hiring and a lot of the other pressure is handled over in the schools by their HR person. That there is more people at this game than just the 3
But
here.
that's not doing anything to replace this person.
I agree, absolutely. Absolutely,
Well,
you're right. You're right.
I still hold, put her in an A.
I'm in total agreement with, JR.
I've been on this committee for 20 years. And I know how much money we've saved the town by being self-insured
Yeah.
and the quality of the care that our employees get. And I think that we have had struggles with, our comp, what we pay versus other towns, so on and so forth. And I think that our benefits have enabled us to, A, at times retain good people, and B, get people, if they're trying to decide all else being equal, then it helps us to get talented employees as well. And the work that goes into that program is significant. It pays for itself in what we've saved and what we would be paying if we were with a program. We periodically, somebody will say, oh, join GIS or, do this, and we go through the exercise and realize it would be significantly more expensive to do so.
People are the most important part of any organization. The bottom line.
And the most expensive.
That's part of the.
But anyway, and honestly, this department has taken it on the chin in as far as certain members of the community that feel entitled to share their opinions on departments and bodies of work that perhaps they are not as familiar with as they might be, and don't understand what is actually going on in that department. And
And in the macro.
I'd hate to make a decision based on,
Yeah.
on bullying.
Well, and the macro view too is the dollars in your department compared to the dollars in DPW or in all of these departments. Share those services because it's a centralized model, right?
Right.
So that requires a lot of attention, right? And again, it's a risk, it's a big risk thing not to have the right staff, right? Because, yeah, you just open yourself up to, some circumstances that aren't favorable to the town and to our, legal services.
There you go.
There's that.
There's that.
Okey doke. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And who is next? Is it Jake or is it Joe? Jake? Jake, you're next.
Yay.
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 Let's talk boats.
Nice picture of his palace.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you
Doc?
put, if you use a fisheye lens, it looks bigger.
Sure.
We
Or
can just
something.
skip,
Big on Tron.
everybody, I've been doing this a while and everybody pretty much is familiar with everything, so we can just we can skip this one. This is FY 25 receipts. This number is, everything that the department brings in, while it's not necessarily, people coming over to our counter to do this, most of this is done at the town hall, so that's important to know that we don't actually touch, for the most part, any of this when we have customers. That's all
But you
done.
track it.
Yeah, but so there's a lot of people that are involved in getting to these numbers, and it's a lot of work other than just our master department. I want that to be known. For the most part, you're gonna see these numbers are pretty much the same. The only asterisk you'll find is vessel excise and transient / launch fees. Mooring permits are pretty much gonna stay around the same as long as if the fees don't increase. Same with tender permits, because we have a set amount of those. Transient basically comes down to when somebody wants to sit on a deep water mooring, and we charge them, if they're from Duxbury and they already have a mooring sticker, we charge them $20 a night, and if they're not from Duxbury, we charge them $40 a night. Vessel excise, that's the half that we get. That's split with the state. Agriculture fees, as everybody knows, is pretty much set by state statute, so the only time that differentiates is when we have renewals, which I remove periodically, and every 10 years, 3 years, depending on their cycle. Recreational shellfish licenses, that number went up this year. It's been consistently going up since we had COVID, and commercial shellfish licenses are actually down this year. But that's not a huge amount of cost. And recreational shellfish and commercial shellfish licenses, those impact our wild fishery. So when we do our daily monitoring of what's being taken out, we have to make sure that we are selling a lot more licenses. So it's a lot more people we have to check. That's a lot more making sure that we're monitoring, make sure that whatever resources we have is going to be sustainable and available for years to come.
So Jake, the aquaculture fees, I'm sorry, did you have it behind?
Go ahead.
Did the aquaculture fees include all of the oyster farm?
That's it, yep.
Does the state
Yeah.
tell us how we can charge for those recreational shellfish?
No.
And is there any ceiling or set by the state?
No, I will evaluate what other towns are doing and try to maintain. We have a good fishery. We just recently increased it, and I know I'm probably not the most popular guy in Duxbury, but they're
Close, Jake.
seniors were at one point, there was no charge, but there's a charge, there's a fee, there's a cost. There's a physical license that they get, there's somebody that has to check the paperwork and all that stuff. So it's a nominal fee, I think it's like,
I
whatever,
didn't mind the $10.
$10, yeah. But
You are a
there was
sports
no charge before, and
So I've been at other meetings and stuff that we have razorfish licenses,
Yeah.
commercial razor.
Yeah.
How much are they? And what's our harvest?
So I just recently went up on that. I don't know. I don't have the exact fee. I can look it up, but. There's only 15 of them.
Hmm.
So,
The return is de minimis.
yeah, but if you go to the next slide. There you
Before we
go.
go too far.
So these are,
Oh, sorry, Mark, yeah,
No worries, thank you. Jake, just since it's my first time through this cycle, could you, on the back of the prior page, the aquaculture fees, 4,000, I think most residents would be surprised given how big the oyster industry is in town. Why that's 4,000? Maybe you could just 30 seconds on that would help.
yeah, so. Mass General Law, Chapter 130 sets aquaculture fees at no more than $25 an acre by state statute. So that's what we can charge. There are indirect fees, like most of them have mooring permits. But the other thing that it does, and one thing that I do like to remind people is that when you have, going to the next slide, when you look at Duxbury's shellfish landings and total vessel value. What that number, that $7 million that comes in, most of it's pretty much from oyster sales. That number puts the town of Duxbury in a more favorable position to be awarded grant funds through Seaport Economic Council and things like that. So, and gives us priority when it comes to dredging. So if you're a primarily recreational harbor, they don't care. They don't care that you have X amount of sailboats in Duxbury. What they want to see is commerce and what that impacts. So I know that $4,000 doesn't look like a lot, but what it does, it brings us up to be one of the, I think we're in the top 5 top 5 commercial ports in Massachusetts because of that.
Mark, I'd like to expand on that because the Shellfish Advisory Committee has for at least a decade or longer discussed this very point. Because locked under chapter 130, and you can look it up, it's fixed as $100. So the Shellfish Advisory Committee of this town has had discussions with the select board and on occasion informal discussions with elected representatives in the general legislature about moving this fee. And that has resulted in zero movement. But if the fee was set, I don't know how long ago, but it's ancient. And your particular point and the question you raised is something that I think is very pertinent. But it would take some kind of fire to be lit somewhere outside of this town in order for there to be movement. And I just wanted to provide that in context because that's been a reality on the part of members of your town's Shellfish Advisory Committee forever.
since the first license was given,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, this goes way back.
whaling, I think, was involved.
Landings on this, are landings like just a count of oysters, like so there's 12 million.
So
We're actually the
for-
oysters with a lot of sugar.
yeah, so these are, so the landings so the way they do different shellfishes, so landings as in X amount of pounds of cohogs were sold.
Okay.
Landings by pieces is actually 12 million oysters sold
Helpful,
and
okay.
accounted for through the safest.
And I also want to
Deal with-
underline something that Jake has talked about, because this is something that is hidden from view. People would not understand this if you're not involved in the maritime industries in this town. The amount of labor employment in this town from the aquaculture industry is significant. I think it's the largest employer in town. And on Jake's point about dredging and keeping the bay navigable, that is absolutely the case. The United States government looks at the commercial landings and activity on this bay, and that's why we get federal funds. So regardless of the current national malaise with shutdowns, et cetera, I just want to triple underscore what Jake is saying. This is one of those hidden things about government that is just not generally known, that has a huge impact on attracting federal funds for navigation of our waters and cleaning out the silt, et cetera. It also has indirect impacts which are not yet fully explored. For example, on the Bay Management Commission, they issued a tremendously important report in June of this year on water quality. And that all fits together. It's not directly linked, but it's indirectly linked, and it's all part of this fabric. But I just want to underscore it.
Is no lobsters listed?
we don't have, we have like one or two commercial lobster fishermen now, that's great, it's not a,
Not a thing.
not a market anymore.
Okay.
Plus, we don't really have the
Most of the lobster
infrastructure.
folks right now are elsewhere. You'll still find them along the coast around Situate.
Yeah.
And other parts of the bay, but not so much around here.
How is scallops doing?
Not really.
Okay. Or they would be on a.
Is anyone else getting hungry?
Unless there's any questions, we can go to the next one. So, I just wanted to rip the Band-Aid off so everyone knows what we're dealing with instead of looking at the chart. So 5A, level service, targeted increases, 2.4% overall. So maintaining essential services amid rising costs. So my focus is basically, and again, the reason I hit these is because when you have a line item that is $1,000 and you want to add $1,000 to it, that's 100% increase in what you're trying to ask for. So I feel like whether the dollar amount, that percentage it sticks out. So intermittent seasonal staffing is no increase in hours of staffing. This is just in my pursuit to try and be able to attract and retain, the seasonal staff. And, when I came to you last year, I was saying the same thing. And now if you look at, you drive by Taco Bell, they starting salaries at $19 an hour. So I'm just trying to make sure that we can have some people look this way instead of at the drive-thru. Vehicle maintenance, that is, my biggest thing is I can have all the people, but if I don't have a vehicle or a vessel or something to get them there, I can't do much. If you're out the boat and I can't send somebody in a rowboat, it's not gonna make it. Uniforms. This is also pretty self-explanatory. When we get to the numbers, and they're not huge, but right now, the cost of everything that's going up. I've had to reduce the quality of what I'm providing to my staff. So instead of beautiful collared shirts, they're wearing t-shirts. Because it's more cost effective for me to put them in t-shirts than it is in a collared shirt. However, we lose, the professional appearance and, they're out there enforcing laws and they should look the part and not look like, anyhow. Public safety supplies, obviously, I think probably everybody in public safety has probably told you the cost of everything in any field is going up, but the cost of a box of gloves is almost like doubled what it used to be. First aid, rescue gear, all these things, as well as all the aids to navigation and all the chains and moorings that we maintain, that falls under the public safety supplies line as well. And then training and conferences, that line is in addition to the regular training we're doing. What I want to do is be able to cast a broader net and be able to get some more opportunities that we have just not taken advantage of because we didn't have the money. So for instance, there is a program run out of Cape Cod Community College where I could send one of my staff members to an outboard engine and outboard engine maintenance. They could do in-house small outboard engine oil changes, and thus as my maintenance service, the vehicle maintenance service costs go up, hopefully I'm gonna start being able to do more of that in-house and then maybe start leveling out where I'm actually supposed to be. And I feel like, when it comes to training, as Betsy has mentioned, one of the biggest things is if we keep doing the same things and we don't look at what other opportunities there are, whether it be marina manager, type of classes and courses or conferences or outboard engine repair. I mean, these could be really beneficial for the town of Duxbury. Anyhow,
And they're bedrock for your management.
yeah,
Well, it ties into your charge to look for revenue within your department. And Chuck and I were very impressed with how you had been thoughtful looking at these individuals, trying to figure out what the cost benefit would be for these changes. So, and we're certainly, it's a no-brainer on if we can do our own oil changes and save, you know, what did you tell me it cost me to have somebody work on?
it really, yeah. It's
Depends
about
on what it
at
is,
least
but it would
minimum
be very quickly,
$600.
a return on
Yeah.
investment would be
Yeah.
less than a year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so 5B is just one ask, and that is in addition to the request from 5A, it's an additional $4,000, and that's just to get that increase from $21 to $22 an hour. So it's basically 5A is $21 an hour average, 5B is $22 an hour. Again, no new positions, no additional hours. This is just
God bless.
to keep and
So the
track.
limit is 4,200.
That's everything. So when you look at 5A versus, adopted versus, you can see those ones that I mentioned, you know, it's not a substantial amount, but when you start looking at in seasonal intermittent, again, no additional staffing. If I could have, I have the same amount of hours that I need covered. So whether I hire 12 people or 17 people, it doesn't really affect anything other than the amount of availability I have for the staff. I mean, relying on part-time staff, I have people that have other jobs and stuff like that. So that's my biggest thing is if I could hire 3 people, it'd be set.
Mark's got his hand up again.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't mean to cut you off. Just when you're done, I'll ask a question.
I'll just keep rambling, so I appreciate it.
So I view, obviously, you provided the revenue that the department generates, obviously covered your costs, but like other assets in town, like the waste or the transfer station, hopefully the town generates revenue in excess of the cost that contributes to other parts of our budget. So when we look at your budget or your revenue, obviously mooring fees are a big component of it, the biggest component. We've already talked in prior meetings about how we're increasing beach fees or beach sticker fees this year, or potentially increasing beach sticker fees. Now, there's obviously the anecdotes that the mooring list is 20 years long. So can you spend a minute sharing how you determine mooring fees and how that's trended over time, and the opportunity, frankly, just to increase revenue for the town? You know, a 10-15% increase in mooring fees obviously is a lot, but there's very little turnover in the mooring list, and maybe that could generate some turnover. So people who've been on the wait list for 15 years can get a mooring, and then a 15% increase in town is a half full-time equivalent employee, that we were talking about previously.
Right. So we base our fees, again, you look at other communities and what they're doing, as well as trying to find out the best fee that's suited for what services you can provide. One of the issues we have is an aging infrastructure. And we don't provide as many of the amenities as other communities do that for instance, Situate or Plymouth, they have a lot more amenities that they could charge more for. In terms of movement on the wait list, I'm pretty sure that we could charge whatever we want, and those with the deep water moorings it's probably not going to turn over much. Where was I going with this?
Mooring fees.
Those are good points highlighting, we're basing our fees off of comparables in other towns, but when there's a 20-year wait list, there's clearly more demand than supply.
When did you
Given the budget scenario we are in the town, this is
Yeah.
one of the best assets we have that generates revenue. I think, and again, I don't have context where fees were 5 years ago versus where they are today. I don't know if they're flat or if they're up 200%. I have no idea.
So I don't have the fee structure in front of me and when the last time we did it, but we did increase it within the last 3 years. what we did is we had a pretty boilerplate mooring structure, which was every mooring in Snug Harbor was, can't remember what it was like $12 a foot for everything. And then Two Rock and Clark's Island and Howland's, different amenities, different facilities. So what we did is we looked at, okay, if you have a deep water mooring, there's only 160 of them. We have a deep water mooring, you should be paying more of a premium because you have access to these amenities more than you do the flats mooring. So what we did was we raised the deep water mooring fees. We also raised everything else, but the deep water mooring fees are now the most. That was never done that way before. So now we have it that there is
Bigger increase.
yeah, and it's tiered. So, somebody has a flats mooring, while we still have 400 people waiting in the mud out, and they're paying, $15 a year to sit on the waiting list. We just have a fee that's appropriate to
The condition.
the condition.
Yeah, the point I just want to make, there's very few areas in town in our budget where we generate revenue. This is one where there's clearly excess demand for the asset scarcity that the town has. And giving the limited resources that we have and the fact that we're increasing each sticker fees, this should be considered as well.
Yeah, and we will be we do consider fees we annually look at our fees. So, yes.
Thank you.
Mark,
Any questions?
the fees are set by the this advisory, right? They
Correct.
set the fees.
Yeah.
So we'll get to give an opinion, but basically it's not this committee that does it.
It's
No,
fiscal.
totally. I think it's just worth highlighting
Oh,
some of
think
the
it's
assets in town that generate revenue should more than cover the cost, which you clearly are, right? Like we see the numbers, but it's an opportunity. Those assets should be generating excess revenue to cover other departments as well. That's
I agree.
we haven't done the transfer station yet. I don't know if the transfer station's break even or not. But if it wasn't break even, like it should be more than break even in generating revenue to cover other areas of our budget as well.
Yep, it is.
So can I jump in on a couple
Please.
of things, and Rainey is also, can you tell what Rainey?
I'm trying to, it's not accepting.
Okay, they said you wanted to jump in. So, a couple of things. First off, there are areas of the town's operation that, do not generate revenue sufficient to cover their expenses. The transfer station is one of them. I've been very open about that since I got here, and that it needs to be addressed. And so it's on the radar. When it comes to some of the fees that Jake is able to generate revenue from, not all of those fees, excuse me. Not all of those fees are general fund receipts. So per statute under Mass General Law, some of the fees that Jake is charging for services go into the Waterways Improvement Fund. And those Waterways Improvement Fund, the regulations governing that have restrictions on how we can use the money. So to say that he's generating sufficient revenue to cover the cost of his operation, while empirically, when you look at 400,000 versus 367, yeah, that would make sense, but not all of those monies go to the general fund to cover his costs. They're just not, that's not how it works. So when people look at those things and say, just raise your fees and cover your expenses, that mechanically is not necessarily how it works across some of our departments.
Thank you. And all of that is super helpful. And just to be clear, the point I was making is not to cover, clearly he's doing a great job. Like that's not my point. My point is where there's opportunity in town to generate revenue, to the extent where there's a situation like this, where there's excessive demand for limited supply, and your department and other departments in the town hall really want or really need additional resources, it should at least be discussed, the opportunity to generate more revenue. But to your point, I don't know if you can take the mooring fees and port that over to the human resources account to bring back a half equivalent full-time employee. I don't know that.
Can't. The mooring fees are one of those fees that are deposited into the Waterways Improvement Fund.
And then what is that fund used for?
That fund has, it's used for two purposes. Number one, to cover the cost of capital. So anything that Jake has brought forward as a capital request, either capital light or capital over 25, we always fund it using the Waterways Improvement Fund. But we also transfer some funding from the Waterways Improvement to support the cost of his budget annually. Because one of the allowances in the statute, or one of the eligibility uses of these Waterways Improvement Fund, is for law enforcement. And so a function of Jake's department is law enforcement. So we take a portion of those proceeds, move it over to the general fund to cover some of his costs. But not everything he does is law enforcement.
And what is that fund sitting at? Never,
I can,
I'm sorry.
nope, I can pull it. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. You pull up the June 30 note.
Okay, I know I took us off on a little bit of a tangent, but all of this education is super helpful.
Well, and I think you're not the only person to have come to that conclusion or ask that question. Mike, did you want to say something?
JR, I'm sorry, to answer, it's about 340,000, no, I'm sorry. June 30th, 450,000 on June 30th.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sure Jake is gonna have some capital requests.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah, I know it. Hi, Mike, how are you?
Good, how is everyone?
I would
I-
like to make a point that you have been at these meetings and listening to all these things as a select person. And we greatly appreciate the fact that you are engaged and learning and hearing it here. Thank you.
No problem. I'm glad to be here. I just wanted to just say I'm as one of the people that sets the fees. I think Mark's points are really good. And particularly even his first not even, but the first point he made about how much we capture from our beds. I wonder if there's an opportunity to, and I don't even know if it's legal, to work with some of our oyster farmers to see if they would consider some kind of like pilot to help with our waterways and the maybe some of the improvements they would like, dredging or other capital improvements down there. Because yes, we can get grants, but to JR's point at the last meeting, we just don't have the capacity right now as a community to pay for a lot of these things. So it's just a thought. But I really like Mark's points about the fees, and I'll take them to heart, particularly when we vote on these in the future.
I would encourage Mark to participate in the fiscal advisory meeting when they do the review to set those fees. I'll let you know when that's going to be. And you can see the process that the town goes through. There has been, in some cases, reluctance on the part of some folks to increase these fees.
Thank you. I think if the people who only have cars are gonna have to pay more to access the beach and the water, if that's being considered, then anything should be considered. But Jake, maybe, I think it's easy to say we're only getting $4,000 in revenue from the oyster industry in town. And obviously you explained why that is, but like from your perspective, does the industry put undue burden on your department with respect to your resources versus the benefit it provides the town?
I can say with the user groups that are on the water, the aquaculturists are professional baymen or bay women or bay people. Bigger drains on my resources are people that are things that don't contribute anything. For instance, there's a nonprofit school that has hundreds of programs that are run in the summertime that are more that I have to spend more time and effort on than the oyster industry. Now, whether that, if you wanted, and I'm qualifying that from waterways enforcement and education and emergency response. My emergency response and enforcement for the aquaculturists is very minimal, while response to emergencies for the yacht club, the maritime school, and just Joe Public that uses his boat is substantially more than in the aquaculture industry. That's not to say that there is an administrative cost to shepherding the aquaculture program that I monitor and have to do annual reports and all this shellfish hearings and things of that nature. That there's a fee, I mean, there's a cost associated with that. But in terms of enforcement, response to emergencies, they're not a drain.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries, absolutely.
All right then. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and bring it home, Joe. Bring it home, buddy. You can do it. Okay. Jake, go and can you go home? Okay, this is interesting. Okay, as long as you're happy.
I've seen this, it's really good.
So you're leaving.
Pretty good practice.
Yeah.
We're gonna really enjoy it.
Thank you.
Hey, Mary, where do I see the 299 account on ClearGov? I only see up to 295.
No, it's in a separate fund, so you need
Oh,
to,
down below. Thank you.
down below, yep.
Did I need to?
Thank you, my friend.
I'll get in your drug bank.
Since we do have some new members here, as Mark and Ashley, if you have not been to the Rock, it is a bit like tuning into the old Star Trek shows. I mean, it is the equipment and, the work that they do there is amazing, and Joe is very, very kind to take people to take a look at the facility and what he's doing, so I know that he would welcome them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Anytime. Please feel
Anytime.
free to come on by.
there you
Happy
go.
to have anybody.
Bring snacks. It's all good.
So I can give you snacks. I gave you water.
Yeah, you did give me a water. That was nice. Pretty excited. All right.
All right, I'll be quick, or as quick as I can be. So I'll just jump right in. The first slide is just an overall call volume. It says 2026. It should kind of stand for fiscal year 26 or calendar year 25, really. Where we're at right now, we've received about 11,840 911 calls. We're projecting that to be just over 19,000 by the end of the year. Our 7-digit, which is where we receive all of our alarms for all of our communities. So just, you know what, I should have started this off because we do have some new members. We are the regional 911 center for the town of Duxbury, Plimpton, Halifax, Hanson, Hanover, and we provide emergency medical dispatch for the town of Pembroke. So all in, we're at about 11,840 in 911. Our 7 digits where we receive all of our alarm calls. So your home alarms, commercial alarms, that's where those are coming in on. We're at about over 6,500 with a projection of about 10,000 by the end of the year. Our total calls for service right now is at 81,233. We're projecting that to be just over 100,000 by the end of the year. Our average time, so my call takers, their average time spent on the phone is just about 3 minutes. And that's to kind of play into just the role that's there. This is no longer a helps on the way, goodbye. We are on the phone with people. We're providing emergency medical information. We're providing pre-arrival instructions. You know, we've had some pretty serious calls over the last few weeks. So it's, you know, CPR, it's medical, it's helping with, it's as crazy as a nosebleed. So they're spending more time on the phone. Our average pickup to dispatch, so from the time a phone call, the phone rings and we start rolling units, is just under 53 seconds. It's an increase from last year. We were at 49 last year. We're up to 53. We attribute that to we have a turnover. We are plagued, just like every other PSAP in the Commonwealth, with staffing issues. As Jeannie kind of alluded to, we hired 8 over the last year. I don't want to hire 8 this year, but my projection is 8 just in case. So I'm not too worried about the uptick. It'll come with training. The problem that we're facing right now is that everyone coming through the door, we used to be able to put job applications out and we would get years of experience rolling through the door. We would steal from other dispatch centers. We would poach. It's not happening anymore. We're not getting there. We're getting people that are coming in. I have 2 in training right now. One has experience at a regional center, just 3 months, and the other has 0 experience whatsoever. So we're trying to get these people trained up, ready to go. We're looking at about a 6 to 8 month lead time from the time Jeannie's team says you're hired to the time that we say, congratulations, you're officially part of the team, getting them out of training. So what's new for 26 and beyond? Well, we have locked 7 communities in for 3 years. We have a 3-year agreement with all 7 of our communities. So from 26 to 28, we're squared away. We have created some advisory type committees. So the big thing with the regional environment, there is a lot of you cater to one side, you cater to one town. We're hosted by the town of Duxbury, so we get a lot of, well, you're only going to do what Duxbury says. So to combat that, I have started to open the door on some advisory type committees to get buy-in and make sure that all of our communities feel that they're part of the team and that they have a say. So we have our administrative committee, which is basically all of our town managers. We have our operations committee, which is all of our police and fire chiefs. And we have our fiscal advisory, which will be all of our fiscal heads. We haven't gotten that squared up and running just yet. That will probably be coming over the next few months. Our operations committee kicks off next week. First meeting is down at the police station. We have started to roll out fiscal policies and procedures, things that have been missing. So, you know, for those that don't know, I was here from 2015 to 2022 when I left and went to the state. Coming back in and kind of starting now to get my hands really around things. I've been back for 2 years. We're finding that there are just things that weren't really documented. So things that I've had to do over the last 2 years of racking my brain and going back and forth with Mary, back and forth with the state, trying to rack my brain of how did we do this back in 18? So we decided that we're going to roll out fiscal policies and procedures to ensure that when the day comes when I can be one of the retirees collecting my retiree insurance, the next person coming in is not going to be in the same boat that I was in. We've redefined what we call our liaison program. We have a liaison for our police and fire chiefs, but we've expanded that to more of our communities. Again, more buy-in. That's what we're looking for here. We're looking for buy-in. We've upgraded a bulk of our technology over across the way. All of our computers were brand new when we opened the doors back in 2020. They have since hit their life cycle. So all of the computers have been upgraded. All the monitors have been upgraded. Keyboards and mice. Next up for 28 and beyond is our server infrastructure. All of our virtual servers, on-prem servers, all that good jazz. And one of the last pieces is in this grant cycle for our FY26 development grant, we were awarded just over 68,000 for a governance and operational assessment. So what that is doing, and we've kicked it off, is we are a hosted regional center by the town of Duxbury. This town takes a lot of, I'll just say, liability on by hosting us. Our grants are reimbursable, meaning that we pay out first and then the state gives us our money back. So I have asked a company, Mission Critical Partners, to come in and give us a full picture. Now, right out of the gate, I just want to be very clear. I am not looking at leaving the town. I'm not saying that's what we want to do because it's either hosted or district. Those are the 2 options that we have. I'm trying to get enough information to present to Rainey and to whether it's the select board or this committee, just where we stand and how things roll. So we're hopeful that by February, we have a final report that we can sit down with Rainey, go over and kind of have a roadmap. That's what this assessment's going to do for me. It's a roadmap. When I came back, I started to look at a 5-year strategic plan. However, I kept hitting the same block every time. So I have this company in. They are looking at everything top to bottom. They've been over already. Their team has been in. They've looked at all of our stuff. They have all of our data. And hopefully by February, we have some stuff back. So we're looking at, and even our financial side of the house, how we assess our communities. Our communities are assessed at a call volume population. It's their total call volume population, and then it's a split of the pie. Duxbury is the highest one. They pay the 28 or 28 to 30% of our budget, and the other communities fill in the gaps along the way. So when that report is done, I'll be happy to come back and give a quick presentation for everybody to kind of show you where we stand. All right, let's jump into the meat and potatoes. So here is my 27 budget. I am projecting just over $2.988 million in grant funding. That combined with all of our assessments coming in, we're looking at a total estimated revenue of about $5.143 million. On the expense side of the house, 3.369 in salaries, 842,000 in operating, and 811 in indirect costs, giving us total expenses of about 5.023, leaving me with a retained earnings of about 120,000. That is all projected. The thing with the grants, they are not awarded until July. The grants that I will say are kind of the ones that I don't think will change at all are our support and incentive, which handles all of my salary and a couple other ancillary items. Training, EMD, and TERT. Those figures will probably be either that number or, if anything, maybe a little higher. The development grant is a competitive grant. I'm competing with 32 active regionals and 4 regional centers in development for a pot of about $50 million. The state is actually also doing a study on regionalization across the Commonwealth, which may open up more additional funding in that development grant. And it may open up more incentive avenues for us. So, I anticipate my salary for the chief technology officer, this will be the last year we're able to collect that incentive. That's his final third year. We're only afforded key support positions for 3 years. Because we're planning on updating our technology, that means a lot of the licensing fees that go along with that, the grant will cover that as part of our purchase. And as of last year, the state will pay for 3 years worth of licensing, so long as you can show a cost savings, which we can. So we'll be applying for at least 3 years worth of license coverage as we move through and upgrade our tech. How the budget breaks down, 67% goes to staff. It's our operating budget is dedicated to salaries. 16% of that is dedicated to the indirect costs, so medical, dental, life insurance, health screenings. 17% is where my operating budget is. It's all of my expenses.
What is your staff complement now, Joe?
We are at 38 full-time, 9 part-time.
Are there 3 shifts or 4?
We do 3. We do midnight to 8, 8 to 4, 4 to midnight. So we're across 3 shifts. We run usually in the midnight to 8 shift, we run 4 dispatchers and 1 supervisor. And then we have, starting at 6 a.m., a utility individual, we call it the utility shift. We start seeing our call volume begin to increase starting right around 6 a.m. This person comes in at 6 to help kind of feel the morning rush a little bit. And then for the day, they're spent kind of being the relief officer. So if a dispatcher wants to take a break, that utility guy can jump in, take their responsibility. That dispatcher can go off the console, leave the facility, go grab something to eat, come back, refresh. It's something that has been well overdue for us. The staff could never take a break. They could never leave the facility. There was just no time to do that. So by taking a look at our call volume and realizing that, hey, I don't need 6 bodies from midnight to 8. The call volume doesn't support that. Let's restructure. Let's remove some staff, put people where they should be. We're able to create this relief officer position. From 8 a.m. to midnight, we run 6 dispatchers and 1 supervisor. And then we have an additional, we call it the ops support supervisor, who runs 2 to 10, which is when the back end of that call volume hits. We do not have a defined, real definite period of when our call volume spikes. It is anywhere between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. that our call volume is through the roof. Starting from 10 p.m. on, it's pretty interesting to see in our metric system that starting at 10 p.m., things just kind of start to shut down across all 7 of our communities.
People go to bed.
That's what it is. People going to bed and then everything starts popping as soon as they start waking up. In terms of salary, just a couple things to call out. If you look at our overtime line, I think I said this last year when I was here. One of the things I found when I came back is the way we were budgeting just didn't match up with anything. I couldn't figure out where we got our overtime number from. So for this year, I really was able to go back and get 3 years worth of data of where we spend on overtime. So that 404,000 is kind of where we're at of our average overtime over the last 3 years. Now, some of that is attributed to, we have been short-staffed, so as we fill these buckets, the overtime. The theory is the overtime drops down, but I have a bunch of paid time off, I have all the paid time off, my staff can comp time. They can comp holidays, they can comp overtime if they don't want the overtime pay. Those are two kind of buckets that I have trouble struggling with budget, because there's no rhyme or reason to it. 1 year, I have a whole staff taking hey, instead of taking the holiday pay, I'll take the comp so I can get more time off. The next year, I bank on that and say, hey, great, they're not gonna, no, actually, I want the pay, I don't want the comp. And on the overtime front, it's kind of the same thing. That's few and far between. I have a lot of people that want the overtime. But what I'm seeing now is I have staff that are pregnant. So now they're trying to figure out how can I get more time and not burn myself. So they're taking the comp time. Yes, ma'am.
How is your salary going down year over year? Is that like the newer people, the turnover that you had and coming in at lower rates? Like I don't typically see it trending down.
No, so the reason that we dropped down this year is we had miscalculations in the 26 budget.
Okay.
So that's one of the things of working with Mary that we were able to find that we weren't calculating indirect costs the right way either. So there you'll see some changes here. It's not that anything was eliminated, we had between the way stipends were given out and other areas, there was just different.
So no one's pay is going down.
No,
every year.
no one's pay is going down over year, unfortunately. But on the overtime front, the 74% is where the increase of 74% is where we kind of to sit on where our true number is right now. That is,
24/7
we're at 24/7 op. We don't shut it down.
There are no shifts that can go unattended, right?
You know, I can money with the ways that, you know, when I came back in, I looked at everything and one of the things that I did that has never been done before. And, you know, like Jake said, he wasn't the most popular guy in Duxbury. I'm not the most popular guy over at the Rock. Because when I came back in, it was that look of, here's what we can do. I don't need, yes, 6 bodies is what I'd like. It's a want, but I need 5 bodies from 8 AM to midnight to make this ship work. I can drop a call taker and utilize my staff or utilize other individuals. So I have 3 administrative type supervisors who handle various administrative roles within our center. So I have a CAD manager who manages our computer aided dispatch system. I have a fiscal individual who handles all of our grants, handles all of our payroll. And I have an operations guy who basically manages, he's our head liaison for all of our police departments. He's the one that's going out there and making sure our customers are satisfied and taking it back and pulling things in. So by looking at this and saying, all right, we can drop a call taker and I can also repurpose my administrative group throughout the week. We're able to save money that way. But it's still the true number is roughly there with all the overtime that we have. It's as soon as I hit, as soon as I hit anything below 5, I have to fill that shift. I have to either fill it with overtime, force. We have our part-time staff, but they are not available all the time. Then there's nothing that says if there's an open shift, you must return. But it's there and it's a driver and it's something that I'm looking at ways to how we can fix that. What's out there for us, and that includes looking at our shift structure. You know, maybe, you know, is the 12-hour shifts work out better? How does that work? And it's funny, I do a seasonal work environment survey to all of my staff. In the last 2 seasons, I've had more and more people saying, can we look at other shift structures? Can we look at 10s? Can we look at 12s? I have a couple of crazy people asking for 24s. I don't think that'll ever happen, but stranger things have happened.
That's zombie land.
Yes. In terms of something that's gone down immensely is the cleaning allowance. We are, as Jeannie alluded to, we are in collective bargaining. And there is some stuff on the table to roll that into the uniform. So you'll see that the cleaning allowance drops, but my uniform budget goes up. It doesn't increase my budget at all. It's at the end of the day, when everything is settled, if they say, hey, you know what, we changed our mind, we want our cleaning money and we want the uniforms to be where they were. Everything is a wash. There's no increase, no decrease.
Hey, Joe,
On the
what's
indirect cost side,
Joe, what's the column on the right, the assessments, just?
so that column on the right is out of that 200, so we'll start just salaries and wages, out of the $2.8 million. Only 439,000 of that is coming out of the assessments we collect for each community. The rest is gonna be coming out of grant funding.
Thank you.
So on the indirect cost side of the house, as I said, when Mary and I were sitting down and kind of going through some things, we started to look at some things and say, hey, wait, these numbers aren't jiving. One of the things we found is we were using the incorrect life insurance rate. In terms of Medicare, we weren't calculating that at the right way either. We weren't calculating the overtime that's part of this. So we figured that piece of it out. The one labeled labor council, that is a legacy account. I need to change the description to match really what it is. It is labor council and it is also Jeannie's testing and all the other indirect costs that we're gonna take on from the HR.
We can call that HR related.
Yeah. Human resources. I like it. But if you notice on the indirect costs, everything is coming out of the assessments. The grants do not cover any sort of indirect costs. There's no grant that will cover that. In terms of the expenses, everything pretty much stayed the same as I highlighted, just uniform and clothing, because that's gonna be going up as we roll the cleaning allowance that's collectively bargained into that. Computer service software agreements, it has gone down, but it's only going down because the state is we are anticipating the state and our one department covering our licensing as we upgrade our technology. Subscriptions and publications have gone up. That's going up by 5%. Our chief technology officer has advised that we plan on a 5 to 7% increase in our tech. And we are very tech heavy. So that's the main driver of kind of my budget of the budget here. Everything else I kept as is, with just the increase in kind of the utilities, because we're seeing some influx in electricity. We're seeing some influx in the telephone side of the house. So we kind of kept just the utilities as going up by about 2%, but we kept everything else at flat. We're good with what we have. I don't need to change anything. This is our second year with vehicle supplies and vehicle maintenance, so those are at the same. I haven't had to hit any of those yet. Thankfully with yes, sir.
Joe, what's in that subscription publications number? That's a huge number. We
Sure.
usually see a couple of grand in there.
So
So you must have some very specific, it's not like software kinds of.
yeah, no, it's a lot of software and it's other stuff as well, and that is I cover it in 2 slides.
Okay, I'll wait. I should still be awake.
I'm moving quick. Yes, sir.
The rest of the budget that we've been looking at, the different, the electric's going up like 19%.
Yeah.
But this is 2%. You don't see your electric bill going up?
So it's hard for us to get a true number because we share with the fire department. We split. We're 75, we take 75%, they take 25%. So where we've been is in that roughly 56 to 57,000. So we haven't projected anything else going through the roof. And I'll go back to talk to Chief Reardon and see if we need to adjust that. But as far as where we're at, seeing the bills that we've seen over the last few months, we haven't seen anything too crazy. So we're kind of holding our
Look to your
own.
future, Joe.
Yeah. You know, there's other areas that we're looking at. We're looking at maybe a potential solar investment. You know, it's something that, you know, Chief Reardon and I have kind of talked about back and forth a little bit. What's the benefit? Is there benefit? Is it worth it? But you know, yeah, that's something I can definitely go back
Is
and
it heat electric?
our heat. Is it electric? I believe so.
Wow. So I'm just saying,
I don't turn the heat on,
that's right.
I keep it cold over there.
Yep, you got that window open. I got it.
You can wear sweatshirts.
Yeah, They get sweatshirts. Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome. They get sweatshirts.
It's getting late for Ken.
We're making jokes now. Keep going, Joe, keep going.
All right, next one is the software service breakdown. So what's in that software item? It's just a short number of things. Our managed service provider, we have a chief technology officer. However, we do need the managed service provider because the chief tech officer is great at what he does, but he's not available all the time. He takes vacations, and if he's on vacation, he's out of the country. I need somebody to get in here and help me get myself back online. But there's also other things they do. They do a lot of monitoring for us, a lot of firewall monitoring. So that's a huge thing for us. Our access control system has dropped down. And again, to the credit of the chief technology officer, a lot of these things he has gone out and I don't want to say browbeat because that's not the right word, but he has done.
Negotiating.
Yeah, there we go. Negotiating. He has done amazing work to negotiate with these companies to say, yeah, no, we gotta figure out a way to lower it. Or if there's things that he can do to take away, he's done that. And the access control is a great one where I believe last year we were looking at almost 3,800 or 3,900. And he was able to go back out and be like, wait a minute, you're charging us for all these users that we don't even have. So yeah, no, get rid of that. So he's been able to help me immensely figure out the tech side of the house and figure out the tech budget world. The big driver of my software is our new CAD. We're moving to a new CAD. We are anticipating go live around April 2nd. That's gonna run us about 321,000 a year because it is a cloud-based CAD. It is a shared CAD system with 7 other regional centers. And as a result, the state will cover 60% of that 321,000. So I just need to come up with the remaining 20. And then in the subscription side of the house, that is where all of our big money items are kind of there. We have to pay CJIS, the criminal justice agency. We have to pay them a fee for their router that they provide for us. We have our virtual environment, our backups, sort of backup plans and all that we're anticipating the state cover 100% through our development grant when we upgrade all of our tech with that. We have a lot of things that are covered through the grant at various percentages. So we have Prepared Live, which is our QA/QI translation and AI services. That's covered 91% by the grant. There's one piece that the grant will not cover because it is non-emergent call triage. And the State 911 department only worries about the urgent emergent calls.
Which one went up, Joe? $9,000 between one year and the other.
Wait, which one?
The subscriptions, you went up $9,000, so which one went up?
So we saw increases in the police DTS, the police detail scheduling and payroll system.
Yep.
We saw an increase there. We had increases in the Microsoft Office 365 and the server infrastructure.
Okay,
But with
you
the
don't need to
grant,
read the rest of them,
perfect. With the grant.
unless
covering
somebody
that up.
wants them to read it. It reads very well.
In terms of our grant funding, we are anticipating, like I had said, 2.988. 89% of that will cover salaries. The remaining of that will go to expenses. It's about a 3% increase from 26. The thing with the grant, our support grant is legislatively bound by call volume and population. So it's only 911 calls. So it's just takes our total 911 calls plus the population of all 6 communities. Unfortunately, Pembroke does not count towards our call volume population matrix because they're not all in with me. They're just doing EMD. So the state does not look at that as a value add to regionalization. So because of that, it's only the populations of Duxbury, Plimpton, Halifax, Hanson, Hanover, and Rochester, plus our total 911 call volume. That's how we get our support money. Then the incentive fee for being a regional center. Unfortunately, we are right at our threshold of allowance under that grant of where we sit. So I can't go back to the state and say, hey, can I get 5% more? Can I get 10% more? Unless I add another community, then I can get more money. But for now, we are stuck there. So it's about a 3% increase from where we were last year.
Does it then not make sense to add towns like Pembroke that are only giving us the police and fire calls? Because that would just become more of a burden over time if you had 2 or 3 of those communities.
No, ideally, I want everybody. I want all in. And mainly it is if I just take one facet. So we're just doing EMD. But if I were to say, hey, I wanted, you know what, the fire department wants in, we'll take the fire department and their 911 calls and the police department do it. It hits my status as a regional emergency communication center. And now I fall lower in the grant approval process for the development grant. Because I'm not a true rec anymore. I'm just now I'm a regional PSAP. I'm doing some things. I still transfer some things out. The EMD front it doesn't hit anything because we're not taking we're not dispatching any services. We're just taking the call from Pembroke and talking their citizen through medical information.
It's a path through and.
Yeah. Yep, and Pembroke is still dispatching themselves. In terms of the assessments, so we have in 26, we stayed flat. That was thanks to our partnership with 911. 27, we're going up 2.5%. 28, 2.5%. 29 and beyond, 2.5%. All that is dependent upon where we sit with things. Our agreements are in place until 2028. So at the end of 28, we can look back and say, all right, hey, you know what? 29, we need to go up 5% because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The other part, we have pieces in our intermunicipal agreements that say if a community's call volume goes up by 10%, call volume or population, we can then reopen the books and recalculate. So I can go up 2.5% in 2028, but a town's call volume goes through the roof. Now I'm able to say, well, hold on, we got to go back to the drawing board here. You owe me more money. So we have that kind of built in. So where do we sit for the town of Duxbury? Well, your assessment for 2027 will be $615,000. If we had no grant funding at all, I'd be asking you for $1.428 million. And at the end of the day, when everyone kind of says it's easy, just go back to how it was to run a PSAP by yourself with 2 dispatchers 24/7, plus an administrator to kind of oversee some things. Just in operating, no capital, you're looking at about 1.929. So the money's there. And the last page is just the capital investments here from the state. So what the town of Duxbury has received, and this is just in capital, so this is all our development grant money. From 17 to 26, the town has received $2.427 million. And the very last page of the packet that I handed out, the very last 3 pages of the packet that I handed out has that breakdown of what was received all of those years. What makes up that $2.4 million.
Good job, sir.
And then lastly, just where we're going. So where you'll kind of hear me come in for over the next year or so is we're doing a lot of member-wide development grant projects. I'm looking at member-wide, community-wide radio system infrastructure assessments, technology assessments. We are looking heavily at AI in our world. That includes fire dispatch automation, where they put the call into the computer and a computer voice is dispatching the fire department. Well, my guys and girls just maintain their status and they're only having to talk to the fire department when they sign on and when they're doing incident control at the scene. We have started and rolled out, it's not up and running yet, we're still in the testing phase with it, but it is our business line call triage. So when you call the non-emergency number, it hits our AI system it will hit our AI system and it will say, you know, what are you looking for? So rather than bogging down my staff with non-urgent, non-emergent calls, they're able to use the AI system to say, hey, I need a burning permit. I live in Rochester. Okay, you need a burning permit for Rochester. Here, let me transfer you. Or, you know, I was in a car accident. I need to file my mass crash report. How do I do that? All right, yeah, it'll send you and text you a link.
You're gonna be our North Star, Joe.
I'm trying. We have QA, QI that we're using it for, and we're starting next week to start looking at the training simulators. There's a bunch of training simulators out there. Because as I said, my young staff, I have 0 experience. The hardest thing for me to do is train someone to take an 911 call. There are companies out there, there's 2 companies that we're looking at that have actual simulators that they are legit. We do scenario-based stuff, but it's not serious enough because I can't get myself worked up enough to sound hysterical and my training manager can't get herself worked up enough. And then the guys and girls laugh because it's Joe, he's being funny, it's Julie, she's being funny. So these systems that we're looking at are legit. You put a headset on and you are legit feeling like you're talking to someone in panic mode. So we're looking at that for training, and we're also looking at it for how we recruit and retain. You know, we do a what's called critical. We do a test that we give you. It tells me how fast you can type and tells me you can multitask. We're looking at using this system to say, how do you handle when someone's screaming and yelling at you to help us retain more? And then the last big thing is just facility improvements. We are maxed out on space. So we are at a crossroads of what do we do? If I take on another community, I think that's it for us. I don't think I don't know, depending on the size, I don't know how much more I could fit into the second floor of the fire department. So we have to start looking at that now of what's our move here? Do we leave that as a backup center and find another property in town? Or where else, or what else do we look at? There's a lot of things lacking that, you know, now there's no modern amenities. I unfortunately have to stick my female coworkers that are my female employees that are nursing in a broom closet under a stairway so they can nurse. And that doesn't sit right with me. I gotta find space better for them. We don't have a quiet room where my staff can go and decompress after a serious call. So, you know, we have a lot of great things over there, but there are some things that are lacking that we have to start putting our heads together and figuring out what our next move is.
Questions?
Oh, pretty thorough. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Go home.
My kids are in bed, so yes.
It's safe.
This is a recorded line.
Just kidding.
Mark, you all set? Okay, cool. All right, Mayor, how are we doing? We have our schedule next week. Anything change on that, or are we still in cahoots? Okay. No, I just didn't know if we had other needs or. Okay, great.
I did notice in the minutes we referred to the.
Thanks, Joe.
As
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Joe.
the mural room, not to be confused with the mural room at the town hall. Maybe we should rename it something that was.
Jeannie, thank you.
Public be.
Yeah, I was confused by that. Actually.
Yeah, it says.
I just figured it was a mistake and kept going.
The mural room at Senior Center, it just,
What's the mural?
we can't have.
Are you
two
talking
mural
about the
rooms.
Ellison room?
Yeah, I think they just made a mistake. That's
Okay.
all. I mean, that's what I think. I could be wrong. but-
Which for me.
All right.
Betsy, if I may, before you adjourn,
Oh, hi, Renee. How are you, buddy?
how are you?
Good.
Just let everybody know that the board will be taking a look at the FY27 budget on Monday, the 27th of October. They had asked for a moment where they could have some input in terms of how things are playing out, and this will be that time. We're going to have it at the Ellison Room there in the Senior Center, and all of the department heads will be invited in case the board has any questions of the departments. We're going to send out a notice so that the finance committee can attend and so that the school committee can attend, but it's not a joint meeting. It's a select board meeting, at which time, like I said, everybody can see where things are headed with the 5A and the 5B budget, and the board will have its opportunity that it had requested to have Q&A.
But it's their meeting.
And
Is that what you're saying?
offer
Yeah,
their
got it.
suggestions. I'm sorry?
It's their meeting.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
Cool. Motion to adjourn. Got a second? Mark?
Yes.
Please, God, yes.
Yes.
Okay, JR?
Yes.
Brenda,
Aye. Aye. Thank you, everybody.
See ya.
Good night.